much do you know about this Bonnyrigg side?
I don't know a lot, to be honest with you. No footage, so no, we're going to be a bit blind, I suppose. But we knew they drew with Annan last game 2-2, and so yeah, they played a back five against Dundee, and I think when we went to a back four, I'm not quite sure because we've not got any footage, to be honest with you, and no scouting.
It was a decent performance. You must have been frustrated.
For us against Annan, yeah, I thought we played well again, but you know, I think you've heard that a few times from me. It's just sticking the ball in the net's the hard part, isn't it? I think we had enough chances. We saw that. You know, I mean, there's no point in going on about it. But it's just sticking the ball in the net, isn't it? That's the hardest part of the game.
In terms of the squad at the moment, obviously very young. How happy are you with the possibilities of this season?
Yeah, well, I'm excited. As you say, it's a very young team, but that's what I've got. So we'll continue and we'll fight as hard as we possibly can. Of course, these young players are going to need support, aren't they? And that's what I'm going to do. I thought they did well enough against Annan in the last game. Some of the players are making their debuts, but they're going to get used now, and I'm sure they'll do very well.
You've got a couple of sort of minor injuries issues already?
Yeah, we had a couple, but I think they're back on the training ground. So Billy's back on the training ground, Danny's back on the training ground, and Brooks is back on the training ground. So in the main, our seniors are all back on the training ground, which is important to us because if they're not there, then it becomes a really young group. So they need that experience running about them.
You were always upbeat, which is great. Realistically, what do you see at the end of the season?
Well, I don't know. I've got no idea. I couldn't. We just want to win games at football, don't we? I know that. So that's it. I can't tell what's going to happen in the future. I can only say that we're going to try our very best with this squad, and we'll see where that takes us.
It seems a little unfair on you that the pressures of being asked questions away from the pitch in terms of the club's security and the future and so on. Can you say anything at all at this point? Are you inspired in any way by talks that might or might not be going on?
Yeah, I think I know the talks are going well. I know they're getting closer and closer to striking a deal, but it's not signed off yet, is it? So until it's done, it's not done, you know. So, but I think it's positive. I think the club is getting close to getting a new owner.
American, Chinese?
No idea. No idea. I've never met them, so I do not know.
So you're not really party to any negotiations at all?
Well, no sat down with anybody.
Then when you said new owner there, that implies a certain degree of control of voting, the board and so on. Is that how we're to interpret a new owner, playing a significant part?
Well, just the way I said it, I don't know if that's going to be the right terminology, but the club are got investors coming in. I've never met them. I don't know who they are. That was just me saying that. So I've got no real idea, to be honest with you, what's going to happen. But hopefully they'll come in and I'll get a bit of money for my budget. That's what I'm looking at.
For these young local players, this will be a first opportunity to play at the Caledonian Stadium. That should give them a lift, surely. The fact that their first home game at their home pitch.
Yeah, I think they'll be excited. They were excited last week, and they've had a few games now in the pre-season. So this is really an extension to the pre-season. We want to be winning these games, of course, because it's it's official games, isn't it? It's a cup, but we got to try and develop these players. It's exciting for them. It's a home game, probably based on their home debuts. I'll get them on the pitch as I more or less did last week. So yeah, it's exciting, and I'm sure they're all excited.
From what a lot of the fans are saying on social media, there seems to be a reluctance to come and watch, but you would presumably want to appeal to fans to come out and support this team on their first home game. Absolutely,
we want the fans through the door, don't we? But if you don't want to come, don't come. Don't come. But why encourage other people not to come? I don't get that. I mean, but if you don't want to be here, don't come. But we want you here. But try not to. Why would you try to then, influence other people not to come? I don't like that part.
Yeah, I think a lot of the fans want to be here, but don't feel able to be here for personal reasons.
Well, that's up to them, personal reasons. We want the fans through the door. I don't know what the problem is, to be honest with you, but we want the fans through the door. I want the fans through the door, and I'm sure all these young players want the fans through the door, as we all do. But as I said, the part that I don't like, if you don't want to come, don't come. If you want to support the club how you want, but why try to influence other people? To me, that's not for me.
You were speaking about the positive talks there regarding investment. Have you been given any kind of timeline as to when that might be coming in before the start?
Well, we're hoping soon, but I'm hoping this month. That's really what I hope they're looking at. But it can be, these things drag on, don't they? They just drag on, and that's the way it is. But it looks positive. Everything looks positive as far as what I'm hearing, and hopefully it'll get done. Obviously, the sooner the better for me, but as long as it gets done, that's the main thing, isn't it?
How much of a difference will it make to the season if it can get done by the end of this month or before the summer transfer window closes?
Well, I'd be hoping that I got a budget in, but I don't know. We don't know, do we? Obviously, if it gets done sooner, then I can get myself into looking at some players and strengthening the squad. Because as you know, and as you can see, the squad is very young, and we'll definitely need some senior players in there, I would think. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and I go in with what I've got.
At the current state of play, how many players would you like to be able to add to that squad? And I mean, you were mentioning about age there, but any particular positions you would like to strengthen in?
Well, I wouldn't like to say too many of the positions, but we certainly just looking for good quality players if we can. We obviously, I don't know what how expensive that's going to be, because I've not got any budget at the moment. And so, but if I get my budget and the new owners come in and we get a bit of money, then I can decide what we're looking at, and what we can spend.
This weekend, Duncan, you were somewhat critical of the state of the pitch here last season. How happy are you with how it's looking ahead of the new year?
Well, the pitch at the moment is not ready. It's not 100% ready, but it's getting better. But obviously with the weather and things like that, but the pitch is not quite ready yet. Obviously we're going to play in it, but obviously they've reseeded it, so they've spent some money on the pitch, which is good, and hopefully that'll knit together as soon as. But this Saturday might be a wee bit not quite right, but we're hoping the next couple of weeks will be perfect.
Is that going to affect your approach for these first couple of games?
It won't affect my approach. I play a passing game, we play a possession, we play football. As you can see, we've done it since I've been in here, and then we'll continue with that. The surface is good enough, don't get me wrong, it's just not quite 100%. But now we play football, we play short passes, and we'll create our overloads, and we'll go for there.
You talked about the importance of having senior players in and around the group in training as well. Obviously, a couple of them have been injury doubts. How difficult is that for you to weigh up whether they should train, whether they should play, with the experience they can bring versus risking their fitness?
Yeah, so that balance, isn't it? We've got to be careful with guys like Billy and Danny, who are into their 30s now. That's probably the only two I've got to 30. The rest are probably under 21 at the moment, so they're all right. So yeah, look, obviously I've got to look after Billy and boys like Danny a wee bit, and they've kind of picked their training days really. Obviously a wee bit of guidance from me, and try to keep everybody fit. We need our senior players fit, because if they're no fit, then obviously we become really, really young, and they definitely are a good. We need their voices in the dressing room, don't we? And on the pitch.
You said last week as well, you might have to operate on a one-out, one-in basis in terms of transfers. Are you any closer to any departures?
I think Nico's transfer's still going through. Obviously we wanted it done, but it's starting to do a visa or whatever, but it's gone through the process, all the paperwork's been in, and we're just waiting for them to get the nod. Other than that, I've got interest in other senior players that are left in my squad, but I can't allow any of them to go, because it's I just can't at the moment. So we'll be keeping them.
All that was missing was the finishing touches down at Annan, and as Brooks has spoke after the game, was just he was already determined to kind of come back firing next week. And it's going to click for the strikers and the rest soon.
Yeah, I hope so. I think we've got Adam and Brooks into a lot of good positions. I think he made a lot of good runs. He broke the line well. Just that finishing one, the one that hit the post was very unlucky to come back, and then we hit the bar. So it just seems the way it went on Saturday for us. And he's a good player. He's a good threat in behind, and he'll get plenty of chances. So yeah, we work on it in training every day, and I'm sure one will drop in for him and the other strikers.